Oklahoma's own News on 6 starts now.
My mother was perfectly healthy. She ate right, she exercised, and she still died because of a virus that, some people think is, not as bad as the flu.
A Tulsa family is devastated after their mother dies unexpectedly. 47-year-old Laura Hartman was a nurse at Hillcrest, and she died Sunday after getting COVID and pneumonia.
News on 6's Amy Avery joins us live with how her children want their mom to be remembered. Amy?
Well, Lori and Craig, Laura's daughters say she was a kind and caring person who always told them she'd live to be 100. They say it's hard to believe she's gone.
Something in my brain was like, I need to text mom right now and see how she's doing. And then I remembered that, she's not at work and I can't just text her at, 1 a.m. when I need something anymore.
20-year-old Catherine Hartman says the past few days have been difficult for her and her 3 younger siblings, Audrey, Nathan, and Jacob. Now, Laura's 4 kids are now overwhelmed with the unexpected task of having to pay for and plan their mom's funeral. Live in Tulsa, Amy Avery, Oklahoma's own News on 6.
The state health department reports 1,300 new cases of COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. 1,500 people are currently in the hospital across the state. That includes 420 people in intensive care. The state reports 2 additional virus-related deaths.
A man's in critical condition after he was hit by a car on Highway 412. Tulsa police say a woman was driving on the westbound ramp late last night near Gilcrease Museum Road when she swerved to avoid hitting someone walking on the ramp. Well, they say she ended up hitting another man who was also walking on the ramp. Officers say the other man did not stay at the scene, so they're looking for him now. Investigators say the driver is cooperating. They're not sure if she'll face any charges.
And Tulsa police arrest a woman who they say ran over her husband during an argument. Officers arrived at a home near 4th and Sheridan around 11:30 last night to find firefighters trying to save that man's life. He's now in critical condition after having surgery. Police arrested Lacey Maxwell for assault and battery with a deadly weapon. She is currently being held without bond. And a minister is behind bars after being accused of raping a 16-year-old. Police say they received reports in July accusing Gary Rogers of sexually assaulting that teen. They say Rogers was a minister for First Assembly of God Church in Tuttle and was most recently at Southside Assembly of God in Oklahoma City.
Drier weather across much of the area, but a lot of sunshine still showing up. Take a look at the satellite picture from this afternoon. Some of the temperatures. Overall, it wasn't too bad. I see some rain ahead. We'll tell you what we expect and when the timeline is for that coming up shortly.
This week, the nation is remembering 20 years since the September 11th terrorist attacks. Among the first bodies identified at the World Trade Center was a man from Oklahoma, David Rice, who was on the 104th floor of the South Tower. Hugh and Cindy Rice remember the call they got from their son just after the first plane hit the North Tower.
He said, there's pandemonium, they won't let us out. Well, what had happened when he called was the plane had hit the other building.
And it was not too long after that the second building got hit. And there was part of me that thought, knowing him and how he could get out of tight situations, he probably was going to make it out, even though he was on the 104th floor.
Tonight at 9 and 10 in an Oklahoma's own original, find out why Hugh and Cindy say they have always felt lucky to live here in our state through that tragedy as well. Oklahoma Congressman Mullen is defending his efforts to evacuate Americans from Afghanistan.
He says the only reason he and others have stepped up is because the Biden administration has let the nation down. He talked to our Alex Cameron today in our News on 6 Washington Bureau.
On August 22nd, 1 week after the Taliban took control of the Afghan capital, while most members of Congress were at home in their districts for August recess, Mullen says he was on a plane headed to Kabul.
And so we had all the proper paperwork. We'd put our manifest sheet out.
The State Department has yet to respond to a request for comment. From our Washington Bureau, I'm Oklahoma's own Alex Cameron.
Catholic Charities of Eastern Oklahoma is getting ready to welcome 800 Afghan refugees to Tulsa. They're going to help the roughly 200 families with things like housing, health care, and getting kids enrolled in school. They say many of these people risk their lives to help our U.S. soldiers, so it's time for us to return the favor.
It's probably our turn now to reach out to them and give them a little short-term assistance help them get on their feet, and then know that they're going to be productive and a great joy for Tulsa for generations to come.
Catholic Charities will be getting help from other nonprofits as well.
Victory Church in Tulsa is also helping to get Afghan refugees to Tulsa. The church helped start a Christian school in Afghanistan 14 years ago. Well, for the past few weeks, Victory has worked to get teachers and families associated with that school out of that country. Coming up tonight at 6, Jonathan Cooper will have more on what the church is doing to help those families get here to our area. And veterans and the people who care for them are getting additional help, how the VA is making more resources available. Plus,
she loved to cook for people. Her hospitality was just one of a kind.
And how family is remembering a beloved Grove school teacher who recently passed away.
A beloved teacher of more than 30 years in Grove has passed away. Those who knew Lisa Lovelady say she inspired joy through her love of music and playing the piano.
She died after falling and hitting her head at home on Sunday. News on 6's Kristen Weaver tells us that Lovelady was known for changing lives with her kindness.
Family and friends say Lisa Lovelady truly inspired everyone she met, sharing her gift of music with the world and teaching kids here in Grove for more than 3 decades. Kristen Weaver, Oklahoma's Own, News on 6.
Grove Public Schools did hold a distance learning day today to give students and staff time to grieve. The superintendent says there is a crisis team ready to help. The funeral is Saturday at the Grove Performing Arts Center. That's Saturday morning at 10 a.m.
Well, a nice breeze is keeping things a little cooler as we look out across the Osage Casino Skycam network, but more heat is on the way.
Travis tells us when temperatures will get back up to 100 again.
And caregivers who care for veterans are getting much needed resources in a safe way. I'm Amelia McGalvro, and I'll show you how after the break.
The Department of Veterans Affairs is holding a resource fair to help Oklahomans who have served our country.
News on 6's Amelia McGalvro shows us the help that is available for veterans. Amelia?
Craig and Lori, this afternoon there was a resource fair here at the Vet Center for veterans who cannot take care of themselves. And all caregivers had to do was drive up. They immediately receive pamphlets, tools, and it's all to better care for our veterans.
Some veterans who served our country need to be served in return.
And there will be another resource fair in Muskogee from 10 to noon, and that will be at Boulevard Christian Church. Live in Tulsa, Amelia McGalvro, Oklahoma's Own, News on 6.
From the Bob Mills Weather Center, the Oklahoma weather expert, Travis Meyer.
You know, when you're dry and you need some rain, having dry weather isn't always a great thing, but boy, it sure makes it easier to breathe and to be able to enjoy the weather a little bit instead of just feeling like you walk out into a sauna. In the meantime, enjoy this evening. That's your 9-day planner. We'll be right back.
The number of people flying through Tulsa is starting to slow down after a busy Labor Day weekend. Tulsa International Airport says travel is starting to pick up again compared to 2020, but the numbers are still down from 2019. June was down about 14% from 2019, but July was down only 9%, so maybe things are getting better. The airport expects travel to pick up again in October.
Tulsa's Vernon AME Church is getting a major cleaning. Workers are power washing off the old paint and dirt. All of the woodwork and stonework is going to be repainted. It's part of a major overhaul of the building that's tied to the centennial of the race massacre. They say they should be finished in about a month.
After 75 years, Union Public Schools will soon have a new mascot.
The district stopped using Redskins, and since November, that's just been called Union. But now the search for a new mascot is down to 2 choices, the Bisons or the Redhawks.
You can share your opinion on those 2 names online for the next 3 weeks before students get to vote. Just go to Union Public Schools website. The district hopes to name a new mascot within the next few months.
Y'all have a preference? The Redhawks or the Bison?
I like the Bison, but I was trying to think of who has Bison. They have Buffalo. McAllister has Buffalo. I'm trying to think who else. So,
I like both of them. I don't think you can go wrong with either one.
Neither one.
Nope. All right. Heat is not on right now.
For the moment.
It's nice right now.
Yeah, check that. So if you missed it tonight, perfect night to be out. Hope you enjoy that because the heat does come back for the weekend. More details at 6 o'clock.
Look at those 100s.
Thanks, Travis. Thank you for joining us.
See you at 6.